Hi everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I want to do another cardigan, sweater, makeover, upcycle, and today I'm going to be starting with this long blue sweater dress. I recently did a video with 3 different cardigan upcycles, and when I was doing a bit of research for that, I did a little bit of inspo searching and window shopping, and one look that popped up that I really liked was this kind of look where it's like a twin set, right? A cardigan and a little top underneath, but instead of like a shell, it's kind of more like a camisole, but made out of the sweater fabric. And I thought that was just a really pretty feminine look, and I thought that might not be too hard to create. So for that I have this sweater dress, which I don't do well with sweater dresses. I think they look beautiful on somebody with a fantastic figure, but for me it just shows every flaw that I don't want to reveal to the world. So I think a little set would be much more flattering for me and more useful. So that's the plan for today. Let's get busy. Let's start by just folding this in half. When I had it on, I marked the length of the cardigan, leaving what I hope will be enough for the camisole at the bottom. So this tells me I'm cutting off, let's call that 16 inches. And then before I cut up the middle, I think I'll just cut off the cowl. It is nice if I can find this chain and pull it out, because then you end up with a finished edge that you don't have to worry about it running. I think it's worth trying to find that. I will be happy. No, I had to give up on trying to find that chain, so I am just cutting off that cowl. So now I want to bring my 2 side seams together so that I can cut right up the center front. Bring the shoulder seams together. I think that the lines of the knit are coarse enough that I can see once I determine which is the center, then I can just follow the knit all the way up. I can barely see the hint of the line that I drew. Okay. Alright, so that's the cardigan. So now I'm going to try this on inside out and see if I want to take in the sides of this at all, if I'm happy with the neckline, all of that. So this is the cowl neck, and you know what, if you were really tiny, that would make an absolutely adorable tube top. All you would do is finish your bottom edge and you would be done. That's a possibility for some people, not for me. So this is the piece that's left over for the camisole, and I put it on, and I can't really do any shaping yet until I get it to fit me a little bit better. I threw in a few pins while I had it on. I'll just get it lined up like that and then take my pins out and cut. And then I just want to cut basically where those pins are. Now I think I'll just baste this side together and try it on again so that I can do some shaping around the top, because for sure I don't want it just a straight edge. Okay, so this is the basic idea. I think I should have gone a couple inches shorter in the cardigan. What's better, the longer or the shorter? I don't know which is better. I was convinced that shorter was better. Okay, now awkward. A little bit undressed here, but we're like friends, so don't worry. I can show my bra straps, it's fine. Okay, this is the camisole part, and I did pinch in a little bit more on the sides, but I love the way the top, I haven't even curved that. That's a straight line, but it's just like rolling down the way knits do. And I think that makes just such a soft, pretty neckline. So I'm good with that. I kind of pinned it to my bra just to kind of hold it up. And then with my little soak, I'm starting to make some marks around. Most camisoles are higher at the front, lower at the back. Just make sure it's still covering your bra at the back. And then what I'm wondering is this piece that I just cut off the side there. If I could use this for straps, cut that in half. But I just don't want it thick and bulky like that. So I might have to work out a little trick to be able to use this, but still keep it a little bit more delicate and dainty. I think it's working. I think it's going to be nice. Okay, let's move on. So now I'm just going to sew beside my basting stitch, and I will use that stretched out zigzag again, 1 millimeter wide, 3 millimeters long. I'll just sew from pin to pin. I think I'll just trim off that extra and zigzag. For a zigzag in the edge, I'll just go to a much wider zigzag. I'll go to 3 and 3. Okay, back to the cutting table. So here's my thought as to how to keep the straps as delicate as possible. I have this beautiful silk. I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are 1.5 inches each, just the length of what I have on this knit, maybe a little longer. this into 2 strips that are 1.5 inches wide. So now my thought is that I'll take that strip, sew it right sides together with this, and then turn it. That gives me a strap that's a little less than 1 inch wide, but as lightweight as possible. I'm sewing it with the silk side up. I'm just going to be back on a straight stitch because that woven will keep the strap from stretching too much. Attaching a safety pin and then dive that pin through. It's tricky right at the beginning just to get it started. You can kind of like push the ends in a little bit just to help it out at the beginning, and then it gets easier. So I tried it on, pinned the straps exactly where I wanted, front and back. I kind of pinned in the fold, and I just am marking the top edge of that fold. And I only have to do half because I'll be cutting it folded in half so that I know it's symmetrical. So I'm just marking the actual fold that I want, and then I'll be cutting that little bit away from the fold. I want the strap sitting there at this level. It's a bit messy. And same here, I want the strap sitting right in here, but at this level. So that'll be good. Now I need to take the strap off and then cut a nice edge around the top. And if I fold it in half, the 2 seams are together. I'm just going to cut a little 1/4 inch pinky fingernail width away from that line. Okay, so now I need to finish off this edge, and I need to finish off the edges around the whole cardigan. This is a really nice, like rubbery elastic. It's really firm. I tried a little sample on the knit and it gives a beautiful edge, but I don't have enough for both. So I just tried out this softer lingerie elastic and it's not bad. I'm sewing it on once with a triple zigzag and then turning it and sewing it again with that triple zigzag. That'll be a pretty edge for the whole top edge of this. I might just want to stretch the elastic a little bit more than I did. I don't want it baggy, especially around the top of the camisole. So here we go, let's go to the machine. So I'm starting at one of the side seams, keeping that seam going the way that I pressed it. As I go around, I want to kind of compact the sweater with my left hand and slightly stretch the elastic with my right. I'm setting it to my triple zigzag, and I've increased the width all the way to 7 millimeters, and the length is 3 millimeters. And just overlapping my elastic. I'll trim this off, but before I turn and do the second row of zigzag, I'm going to just try this on and make sure I'm happy. Okay, it's really pretty. I'm really happy with it. So now I'm just going to turn that elastic down, and now I'm just trying to do the zigzag right over that edge again. This is the one that's going to show, so I've got to make sure it looks very purposeful. Get that elastic to lay flat. Don't let it fold on me. Oh, I think that's looking beautiful. Very happy. Okay, keep going. Good, so here it's coming around to the peak at the front. So make a nice shape as you go. If it doesn't look good, don't sew it. Okay, so that's the front edge. I think that's pretty. So now I just need to attach the straps, and then this part's done. Alrighty, so to sew the straps on, I think I have to do it by hand because I don't want to have like a zigzag stitch showing on the back. Maybe I don't mind, but on the front, I want to keep it as clean as possible. So there's my little marker of where I want that to hit the top of the camisole. And I'm just going to snip a centimeter, half an inch below those on both ends. I'm just going to finish that off, like just zigzag all 4 of those edges. Okay, so I just chained those all together as I was zigzagging. And now I can snip them apart. It just makes it a little faster and a little easier to do them together. You don't get problems of getting stuck in the machine. So then with a needle and a double thread, I just kind of sewed around in a rectangular shape, making sure that my stitches didn't show on the outside. And then tied a good knot, and Did that on all 4 ends of the straps. And then the camisole was done. Coming into the home stretch here, all I need to do now is finish all of the edges on the cardigan. So I'm setting it to that triple zigzag again, and I am starting by going across the bottom edge of the cardigan. I don't want the cardigan to shrink in the way I did with the camisole, so I'm not stretching the elastic at all. The elastic is just here to give a nice, solid, stretchable edge. And I'm not really compacting with my left hand the way I did before. I just want to make sure it's not stretched out. I think I should be smart because the edge is going to also make a fold. That's going to make it quite bulky here. So I'm going to cut the elastic a little bit before I get to the edge. I should have started that way too. I might have to go back and just trim that little bit at the beginning. And just replace my back tack there. And now my second turn, same way. Okay, and then you can see it gives quite a nice edge that actually feels amazing. It just feels so solid. And I like the look of that triple zigzag. I'm okay with that. Good, and now I'm going to start at one bottom corner and go up all the way around the neck and down to the other bottom corner. And I think I'll be smart again and start my elastic just past that little fold. And I had tried this on so many times that the back neck started to get quite stretched out. So I don't know if you can see here. There you can see. I ended up doing a stay stitch all the way around the back neck and then steamed it nicely. Okay, and now the second fold. So now what I'm doing is just folding it and trying to push it out so that it's folding right against the elastic. I don't want there to be any gap there. Okay. Trim threads, final press, and I am done. Okay, so this is officially done, but I don't like it. And I would never, I'm not done. And you know what? If you watch my videos, you know I don't give up easily. I don't give up until I like it. So here's a quick fix. Okay, I got my wax, and I'm gonna draw kind of just across the back of my waist. I'm gonna cut it down, make a little point, wrap, button. I think that's just going to feel a lot more like me. It's going to be better. Give me 5 minutes and then we'll be done. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to leave a little bit of seam allowance below my wax line. So I'm cutting off 4 inches. And then once I hit the side seam though, then I want to angle down to this point. And I'm just going to cut that right off. So I tried it on. It's so much better. I just cut a little more off of this shape so it was a little skinnier in here. I need to now finish off the bottom edge in a way that allows it to stretch quite a bit. So I'm just going to use this soft lingerie elastic, exact same technique that I've been doing. So I'm going to be 2 seconds with that. And then I'm going to put a little loop on both ends, a little button on at each side seam. It's going to be lickety split. I'm going to do these loops on the serger, and I'll make one long one and then cut it in half. So this piece is about 2 inches by 7.5 inches. Now this you don't have to watch me do because you've seen me do it on the others, but I do want to show you a fun trick on the serger to make these loops. Okay, now to make these little loops, you could absolutely just turn this right side together, sew down, take a safety pin and pull that through. But this is just a fun little trick I want to show you. See this chain of thread on the serger? I want to chain enough that it's a little bit longer than my piece. Good. So there's my chain of thread. And now I'm just going to wrap this piece around right side together, and I'm wrapping it over that chain of thread. So I might go a little skinnier and serge off some as I go. Some sergers don't like cutting like this, so be careful with yours. And I'm keeping that chain of thread close to the fold. So now I'll take that chain of thread and just help it get started, sort of tuck in that end a little bit. And then you just keep pulling that, and that turns the loop for you. There we go. Good. All right. I'm going to take this to the iron. I'm going to stretch it and block it in that stretched out position because I do want it like skinny. Isn't that nice? Like it came out really nice and skinny and flat, so I'm happy with that. And right at my points here, I want to be able to sew this, and I'm definitely doing this by machine, down like that. I found these little pearly buttons in my stash, just big enough for that to pass through. That'll finish off that point nicely. Is going to be good. So I need to cut this here, and two like that. I'm just going to zigzag that on and then bring this over like that. That'll be good. I'll be right back. So one loop on each end and a button on the outside on the left and a button on the inside on the right. And it's going to wrap over like that. Done. There we go. Now I like it. I actually really love it now. It's just a loop and a button on each side, and then it just has a soft drape. Now, one thing for sure is that my final product looks nothing like my inspiration picture. But you know what? You never know where your creative journeys are going to lead you. And I'm really happy with what I have. It just feels a lot more like me. You know what I really like? I like that it looks kind of like one piece now, right? It looks, you can't really tell that it's two separate pieces, but it still gives me a world of possibilities. There's another option with the camisole tucked in and then the cardigan wrapping around. Gives a completely different look, doesn't it? I like that too. I can totally wear this little camisole with the black sweater I just finished. Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's, the textures go together nicely. Like, this feels amazing. I love this. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm excited. Now, I can also do this. Right? I can do this. This is gonna be handy. There's always like a roller coaster involved, isn't there? So I think that finally wraps it up for today. If you've watched to the end, thank you so much. It's great to have you along for the ride. It's nice to have company. And until next time on Catherine Sews, you take care.